She thought it was just another morning patrol, until a tiny German Shepherd puppy began following her through the woods, eyes wide and tail trembling. But when Officer Jenna finally knelt down, what she saw beneath the pup's matted fur changed everything. What happened next left everyone speechless. It was just past dawn when Officer Jenna clipped her badge to her uniform and stepped into the cool forest air. Her patrol route was familiar, an old logging trail winding quietly through the edge of town. Birds chirped overhead as she adjusted her radio, the soft crunch of gravel beneath her boots the only other sound. Nothing ever really happened out here, just peace, trees, and the occasional deer. But today, something felt different. About 15 minutes in, Jenna felt it, a prickle on the back of her neck. She stopped and looked over her shoulder. Nothing. She shrugged it off and kept walking. But then, there it was again, a sound, barely audible, like tiny paws brushing against dry leaves. Jenna paused, turned slowly, and froze. There, standing in the center of the trail, was a German Shepherd puppy, no bigger than a loaf of bread. His oversized ears drooped slightly, and his wide amber eyes shimmered with uncertainty. He looked underfed, his fur tangled and dull, his little chest puffing with each hesitant breath. He whimpered. Jenna knelt gently, softening her voice. "Hey there, buddy, where'd you come from?" The pup didn't run. Instead, he tilted his head, took a cautious step forward, then another, still unsure, still watching her closely. She extended her hand. He stopped just short of touching it. Jenna slowly stood and took a single step forward. He followed. Then another. And another. Her brow furrowed. He wasn't lost. He was choosing to follow her. But why? What was he trying to tell her? Jenna resumed walking, slower now, acutely aware of her new shadow. The pup stayed close, never more than a few feet behind her. His steps were purposeful, ears perked, eyes locked on her boots like he was guiding her, or begging her to notice something. It wasn't normal puppy behavior. This wasn't play. It was urgent. She stopped again, crouching low. "Are you lost, little guy? Or is there someone out there?" The puppy let out a soft whine, then trotted ahead of her, pausing just long enough to glance back. Jenna's heart skipped a beat. He wanted her to follow. Without hesitation, she veered off the trail and stepped into the dense underbrush. The forest thickened around her, the ground uneven and littered with roots, but the puppy moved with remarkable confidence, darting between ferns and fallen branches, always pausing to make sure she was still behind him. It was as if he knew exactly where he was going. Minutes passed. Jenna's heart began to race, not from fear, but anticipation. This puppy wasn't wandering. He had a mission. And now, she was part of it. Suddenly, he stopped beside a fallen log and barked, not playfully, but sharp, urgent, alert. Jenna rushed over, pushing past a thicket of brush, and gasped. Lying in the shadows was a second dog, older, barely moving. A limp paw twitched in the dirt. The shepherd looked broken. Jenna dropped to her knees, training kicking in. She pressed her fingers gently against its chest. A heartbeat. Faint, but steady. The older dog was in bad shape, its hind leg twisted at an unnatural angle. Dried blood matted the fur along its flank. Its body was covered in scratches and burrs. Whatever had happened, it hadn't been recent. But it had survived. Barely. The puppy circled them both, eyes wide with worry, his tiny body pressing against the injured dog's side. He whined softly, nuzzling her with his nose, refusing to leave her side. It wasn't just another stray. This was his mother. And he had brought Jenna straight to her. The weight of the moment settled on Jenna's chest as her eyes stung. He hadn't been lost. He had come for help. And somehow, this tiny, trembling soul had known exactly who to trust. This baby hadn't been following her for food or comfort. He had been holding on to hope, carrying a mission his tiny legs could barely manage. He needed someone to save his family. She unclipped her radio and called for backup and a mobile vet team. Her voice cracked slightly as she gave the coordinates. Found 2 dogs, 1 adult female in critical condition, 1 pup, unharmed but traumatized, requesting urgent medical. The puppy, now exhausted, leaned against her leg. Jenna placed a hand gently on his back. He didn't flinch. In fact, his breathing slowed. For the first time, he seemed to rest, trusting her completely. She looked from the older dog to the puppy. How many miles had he walked? How long had he waited for someone to listen? That kind of loyalty, so pure, so unshaken, wasn't just about survival. It was love, and Jenna knew then. She couldn't walk away. The mobile vet unit arrived within minutes, lights flashing quietly through the dense tree canopy. Jenna guided them to the spot where the older German Shepherd lay motionless, her tiny guardian still faithfully at her side. The team worked swiftly, administering fluids and pain medication, then carefully lifting the wounded dog onto a stretcher. The puppy let out a sharp yelp as they moved her, his small body trembling. Afraid they were taking her away, Jenna scooped him up, holding him close to her chest. "She's going to be okay," she whispered. Though she wasn't entirely sure, she knew he needed to hear it. Back at the clinic, the older dog, soon named Shadow by the staff, underwent emergency surgery. A shattered leg, multiple fractures, internal bruising. It was a miracle she was still alive. The pup, now affectionately named Scout, never left the corner of the recovery room. He waited, silent, unmoving, watching every time a door creaked open. Jenna visited them every day after her shift. Scout would race to her, tail wagging furiously, eyes filled with trust and recognition. Shadow, still weak, would lift her head ever so slightly the moment Jenna entered the room. One afternoon, Scout crawled up beside his mother, nudged her gently, then looked back at Jenna as if to say, "She's coming back." That moment cracked something open in Jenna. She wasn't just rescuing dogs anymore. She was watching a family fight to heal, held together by a bond deeper than words. And it was beautiful. Weeks passed. Shadow slowly regained her strength. Her eyes, once dull and clouded with pain, now sparkled every time Scout curled up beside her. The clinic staff marveled at her progress, crediting not just the treatment, but the unwavering presence of her pup. Scout never left her side. He was her hope. Jenna had a decision to make. Each visit to the clinic had deepened her bond with both dogs. She found herself smiling more, sleeping better, feeling something she hadn't felt in years: purpose. One quiet evening, as Scout nuzzled into her lap and Shadow rested her head gently on Jenna's boot, the answer became undeniable. "I want to adopt them," she said softly to the vet, who simply smiled and nodded. The adoption papers were signed. Within days, Jenna brought them home, to a quiet cabin just outside of town, where the trees swayed and the birds sang. Scout took to the place immediately, chasing butterflies and barking at squirrels. Shadow, walking with a slight limp, carried herself with quiet grace, always keeping her eyes on Scout. But something else changed, too. Jenna, the woman who once walked alone, now had a family waiting at the door. Tails wagging, hearts full. Sometimes people say animals find the humans they need, but Jenna knew the truth. Scout hadn't just found help that day in the woods, he had found a forever home. And Jenna? She found love in the form of two broken souls, who never gave up on each other.
If this tale moved you, if you felt the tension, the heartbreak, and the triumph, please support our channel by hitting the like button and subscribing. Your support means the world to us and helps us bring more thrilling, emotional, and inspiring stories your way. Leave a comment below and let us know what you think. Do you believe dogs have an extraordinary sixth sense? Share your thoughts and personal stories with us. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.